So I remember the first time this happened and the teacher was about to take a cane to my ass. Yes, a male teacher was about to turn me around and take a cane to my tender 10-year-old bum bum.
Now that's fucked up.
It's Adefolake here, your benign beauty, back again with another video for you guys. Put my glasses on, not just a weirdo that just wears shades in the house. Cool, they match this look. They match my aesthetic. I feel cool. I'll talk about them in a bit, but I was lucky enough to experience growing up both in England and Nigeria. You see, the perks of having indecisive parents means that I was kept shuffling back and forth from London to Lagos. London to Lagos. Even though now that I'm an adult, whatever that means, and I've chosen to make my primary base Lagos, London is still home. Being born in London for the first, and then living there for the first 10 years of my life, and then moving back to Lagos at the tender age of 10, I guess it's safe to say that it was a culture shock. Really shaped who I am today, for sure. But I just want to highlight and notice some of the differences that I noticed growing up in London and growing up in Lagos as a child. A lot of things actually that I had to adjust in my psyche that I didn't even realize I had to do. So as I've grown up, I've realized that, oh wow, so this is why I used to behave like that, and that is why I used to behave like this. It's because of the difference in the two upbringings merged together made me what I am today. People that have had both experiences of both cultures or both ways of growing up should be able to relate to this, and also people with kids or that plan to have kids and don't know where they want to raise them and have the option of raising them both in London and Lagos. I don't know why my neighbors are making noise outside. Please ignore it, ignore the music. So yeah, you have the option of raising your kids in London and Lagos, and you don't know which one to choose. This video may put some things into perspective for you and make you understand the differences between growing up in London and growing up in Lagos. Before I go into the cocoa of the cocoa, I just want to do some, some plugs, not shameless plugs, just very, very, shameful. I don't know the English, but actually I want to plug. First of all, I want to say my hair sponsor, Vanitude Hair. Yes, all the bomb wigs I wear are from Vanitude. Their shop is on Fallout Shibo. It's next to Tiana, in the mall next to Tiana Empires. You can't miss it. It's got amazing hair, affordable prices, so make sure you check that out. Now these sunglasses, I don't just sit at home and wear stunner shades. I'm wearing them because these are the shades that get me through nights out. Yes, I'm one of those girls that like to wear shades in the club, and when I buy these Shop with 5K shades, they've got so many different styles and stuff. I can literally have my shades on in the club, and underneath you will know that I'm fast asleep. And these are not as obnoxious as those big sunglasses that I usually wear. So these are my like going out clubbing. Okay, so now that I've done that, I can take this off. Hey face, my shirt, Bearded Genius, yay! Ooh, this was from their last collection. They've got a new one coming out soon. So this was gifted to me by TK Kareem, CEO of Beard Guide. This is the Asiko 4, I think, 5, I'm not sure, I need to get that right. But yeah, this is the stuff they have in their brand. They also gave me like a really nice tube dress. I'll probably wear it soon, when I get my stomach in check. All right, so plugs over, let's get back to the video. So I'm gonna talk about discipline. I'm gonna get right into it, okay? Discipline in London and Lagos, in primary schools, in schools in general, is so different, and it shaped me in two different ways, and I had to like adjust so much when I moved back. In primary school in London, my teachers used to talk to us with very soft voice. Don't do that. Don't be a naughty girl. Get detention if you do that. Just soft voice, keeping it simple. And I used to fear detention like anything. I used to fear getting grounded. Like, I did not want my teacher to tell me that I'm a naughty girl. I didn't want her to have to come close to me and put her finger out and say, don't do that, I didn't used to misbehave. I wasn't one of those kids that, the naughty kid. I wanted to follow the rules. I didn't want to get into trouble. Getting into trouble was embarrassing. A few times that I did, it was mostly just I'll send you to the principal's office, or I'll call your parents. Calling parents, that's their favorite thing to do. The fear of being called into the principal's office for her to tell us off with like her soft voice was enough. I was shook. I didn't want that to happen. There was no aggression used to discipline us. And now that I'm older, I've realized it's not because the teachers don't want to shout or the teachers don't want to clip your ear, but it's because it's illegal. They are bound by the law not to touch the students, not to raise their voices at the students, not to do anything that's going to make the child say that they're now traumatized or maybe want to go and commit suicide. Like, they are so heavily regulated, teachers in England, especially in public schools. Any small aggression towards any student and you can end up in jail. So now I understand why they use very soft voices to scold us. Now let's fast forward to 10 years. I moved to Nigeria to do secondary school. And oh, was it a culture shock? Did things change? Things changed. Now in Nigeria, I went to 2 different schools. The first school I went to was my parents just being as British as they just are and thinking that you have to go to the school close to your postcode. I mean, that's what they do in London, right? You go to the school closest to your postcode or you go to the school closest to your house. So my parents moved to Nigeria and followed the same formula. That's how I ended up in a school where the teachers used to take out their personal frustrations from home and from living in Lagos and from traffic out on us and be beating us mercilessly with canes. So of course I was flabbergasted. And I'm not a difficult child, so it's fair to say that I shouldn't get into situations where I end up getting beat, right? No, wrong. Because you just have to be at the wrong place at the right time, and they're gathering everybody and everyone's getting a beating. The class is making noise, everyone in the class, whether you are seated on your seat and facing front, or whether you are facing back, whether you were putting your head on the table, as long as you were in the classroom where they were making that noise, everyone is chopping cake.
I want to flog the air out of Satan.
So I remember the first time this happened and the teacher was about to take a cane to my ass. Yes, a male teacher was about to turn me around and take a cane to my tender 10-year-old bum bum.
Now that's fucked up.
That's a discussion for another video. Anyway, as he was about to do it, I said to him with my tender British accent, "Please sir, take it easy on me. I have a very delicate bum bum." I can't make this shit up. This nigga said, "Oh, you have a delicate bum bum," laughed at me and proceeded to flog me harder than he flogged anybody else in the class. To make matters worse, this guy decided to spread this story around the entire school. Until I left that school, I was called delicate bum bum. Teachers, students, even some parents. I walk down the hallway and somebody I've never met in my life would be like, "Ah, you're delicate bum bum, delicate bum bum," and they'll try to do it in my accent too and try to like imitate me. That was me, delicate bum bum. Once bitten, twice shy. I started packing shorts under my school skirt every day so that I won't even feel it. I was armoring myself. So mom saw me doing this one day. I was going to school, she was like, "Why are you wearing all these shorts and why are you wearing all your PE shorts underneath your skirt? Like, what's going on?" And I told her, like, just in case they want to beat me. She was like, "Oh, did you do something wrong?" I was like, "I don't have to do anything wrong. I just have to be at the wrong place at the right time, or the wrong place at the wrong time, and I'm going to get flogged." I have to armor myself because, like I said, I have a delicate bum bum. So my mom saw me armoring myself, and obviously she saw that something is wrong, and we spent some more time in Lagos, so she's realized that things don't work the way she thought they worked. She's spoken to people, and that's how I changed school.
Ready to get the fuck ASAP!
I went to a school that better suited me. It was a British curriculum school, so obviously it made more sense because I knew I was going to do A-levels and university in England. They were not barbaric. They did not flog the children. But still, and this is something that you'll get in any school in Nigeria, the discipline is always going to be aggressive, and they're always going to use pain to discipline. Now, they don't flog us in this school, but what they do is you will kneel down on gravel for hours on end till your knees feel like they're about to fall off. You will stand in assemblies, they'll embarrass you. I mean, there was even one time that a teacher cut my braids off my head because she said they were too long. And it was right before I was about to write an external exam. Like, talk about killing somebody's exam morale right before they're about to write an exam. A teacher surely heard from my mom. and that's a story for another video as well. What's my point? Okay, so my point is that as a child in Nigeria, growing up in Nigeria, there are harsher consequences, harsher short-term consequences to bad behavior. You're going to get punished instantly, and it's most likely going to be painful or extremely uncomfortable. And I would say for a difficult child, it would make them sit up. I mean, in England, because the teachers aren't allowed to be hands-on, aren't allowed to deal with things properly, it can be quite annoying for parents because they get called all the time. Difficult child in a British public school cannot be controlled by the teacher. The teacher cannot really do anything to put the child in line. So therefore they end up calling the parents a lot. And that is what they're trained to do. They're trained to call parents when the kid is disrupting the class or when the kid is not cooperating. And that can be very, very annoying for parents, right? Can't you just twist the child's ear and make the child cooperate? Like, why are you calling me to come and talk to the child because they're disrupting the class? Think I'm not at work or I don't have things I'm doing? Especially black children. British teachers have no time for a black child that's misbehaving. They're just gonna label the child a bad egg and not even try to straighten the child out. That's just a bad egg, and they're gonna be ringing your phone every day saying your child is a bad egg, basically. I'd gotten used to having harsh consequences to bad behavior. So therefore, the methods of punishment in my new British A-level school was so weak to me. While the other kids were threatened detention, I was like, so you mean to tell me that if I skip this class, I'll get 1 hour of detention? No beating, no kneeling on gravel, just 1 hour sitting down on a comfortable chair. Well, fuck biology class then. I feel like that is how the Nigerian factor, have you ever heard that say Nigerian factor? That's how it's breeded, because Nigerians react to short painful consequences instead of realizing long-term consequences. So you find that Nigerians take liberties a lot more, especially when they go abroad. They find loopholes in the rules and they get away with it, or they feel like maybe the punishment is not that harsh, so it's worth it. But in the long run, you don't realize that you are shooting yourself in the foot. Or, I mean, I may just have to sit through detention for an hour, and it may seem like it's worth it at the time to skip the class and do the 1 hour detention. First of all, you're risking suspension, you're risking expulsion, and also you're not going to get a good reference on your UCAS application if you've got so many detentions on your record. So that's just an example of like how, you know, you just don't think too much about long-term consequences and more about at least will they beat me? You know, it's even something they say, are you going to beat me? Will you beat me? You know, and they just do something bad because you know the consequences are not that deep. Honestly, personally, I believe that disciplining kids with pain fucks up their mental. I don't know, that's just me. Do you agree? Have you had these both? Did you have these experiences moving from one country to another? Did you have to adjust your psyche? Did you have to change your way of thinking? I don't know who can relate. I mean, has this given you a better perspective as to where to raise a child? That is all I have for today. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and don't be stingy. Share it with your family and friends because they might enjoy it. Also, Adefolake, the Brunette Beauty, is out.